Hello, my name is Jesse and I work in internal and executive communications at the University of Oregon. Today I'm going to be giving a quick overview of the Academic and Administrative Leadership List. This is a moderated listserv that we use to distribute messages to academic and administrative leadership across the university. It's a curated list, so it is updated each term at the start by chiefs of staff and deans of the different schools and colleges. The list is voluntary, so it is up to the chiefs of staff and the deans to decide who's included on the list, but generally we recommend that everyone from a director level or higher is included on the list as well as their executive support. And this list is used to distribute messages usually related to conditions of employment, so timely notices or notices of renewal or non-renewal, or other labor relations related messages. We also typically use it for transitions and hires within executive offices, guidance regarding finances and operations, training and workshops specifically for academic and administrative leadership, as well as certain calls for action from leadership. Messages outside of kind of these different categories are typically used in different communications channels. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to contact your unit communicator or reach out to myself. So before we get into composing the email itself to send to the all list, a couple of quick notes on best practices when sending to the list. First off, in order to send to the list, you have to have the email you're sending from included on the list itself. So you want to make sure that if you're sending on behalf of an executive or if you're sending a message from yourself, that your email is included on the list. So if you want to check with that, you can either reach out to your chief of staff or dean or myself to check on if that email is included on the list. Another way is if you have been receiving messages from the list to a certain email, that email will be included on the list. You also will want to make sure not to include any attachments or of different files or images in your message. This is just to ensure that the size of the message generally stays very small so that we can ensure delivery. However, if you want to include a file, for instance, in your message, what you can do is upload it to either OneDrive or to a website and then include that link within the message you are sending. And so people can still have a way of accessing that file while still keeping your message relatively small so we can ensure delivery. And so when you're ready to compose the message, you'll do this very similar to how you would send an email to anyone else. You can open up a new message here in Outlook. And in the to field, you'll want to enter the address for the list, which is aallist@lists.uoregon.edu. You can include other email addresses if you would like. And then in the subject line, you'd include just your general subject line. And then you'd compose the body of your message as you would any other email. It can be helpful to include a brief summary statement at the top of the email. So I'll show here a quick example of an email that was sent from Information Services. So as you can see, they had their just regular subject line. The all list itself will include this little bracket and include the name of the list when it does the send itself, so you don't need to include that in your subject line. But they included a brief message at the top just noting who the message was coming from and what the message was regarding. So this is an easy way to help the recipients of the message quickly understand what it's about and what may be required of them. And so once you have finished composing your message, you'll just click send and it will then be sent to the list for moderation. A moderator will typically review the message within 1 to 2 business days. And if everything meets our best practices and guidelines, then the message will be approved and sent to the list. So everyone included on the list will receive the email directly to their inbox. If a message does not meet certain guidelines, a moderator will reach out to you to follow up with the message to see if another communications channel would be more appropriate or to make any adjustments to ensure that the message meets our guidelines. And so that's it for sending a message to the academic and administrative leadership list. If you have any questions, I've included some links to the communications website with helpful information about the list, but you can also feel free to reach out to myself, and I'll include my email address below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful.